whatever that is higher than I, O winner of wealth, Arjun, all that is here is strung on me as rows of gems on the string. The examples that Shri Krishna gives in the Gita to explain metaphysics are very beautiful, and each of these examples have become very famous. The example in this verse is also very beautiful and very famous. Shri Krishna says that there is nothing apart from him in the world. Whatever you can see is God, and there cannot be anything apart from God. Shri Krishna also says that everything that is here in this world is strung on him as rows of gems on a string. When we look with our eyes, then everything looks different, but it is not all different. God is a string on which these gems are strung. This example of the string and the gems is very important. The string is non-manifest and the gems are manifest. You can see gems, but they only run because of the string. The world can be seen, but it only runs because of God. The reason which the world is running and functioning cannot be seen, and one can only see that which is being run. One can see the world that is being run, but the ultimate truth as a result of which the world runs is non-manifest. If the string breaks, then the whole necklace breaks, and then the necklace cannot be shown, cannot be seen, and cannot remain attractive. You just put all its parts together into a box. The charm of the necklace would go away. The beauty of the necklace was not because of the individual gems, but because the gems had been arranged so nicely. In the same way, this world is beautiful, just like each of the gems are very beautiful, but the reason why the world is so beautiful is because the ultimate truth is inside it. If the string breaks, then Achyutam Keshavam Na Ram Bo Valram Kara Ante Baro. This is because the string has broken and all the gems have been separated. Now the necklace is of no use. The necklace only has worth while the string is there. This is non-manifest string is God. Shri Krishna says that there cannot be anything in the world apart from him, just like he had said in the last verse that he is Bhava, creation, and Pralaya, dissolution. Thinkers say that the use of the word Prabhava shows that God is the Nimittakaran, which is the creator of the world, and the use of the word Pralaya, dissolution, shows that God is the Upadan Karan, the substance of this world. Remember these important terms, they're going to come up in detail. Nimittakaran is the creator, and Upadan Karan, the substance. God is both the creator and the substance. In this verse, Shri Krishna said that there is nothing in the world apart from him, and this shows that he is also the Abhinakaran, which means the cause of all causes. God is the creator and the substance of the world, and Vedantis go further and say that God is the cause of all causes. We must understand the metaphysics behind the reasons why God is the Nimittakaran, which is the creator, and the Upadankaran, the substance of the world. If you read a lot of scriptures on metaphysics, then these will come up over and over again. The Nimittakaran, the creator, and the Upadankaran, the substance. We will try to understand this terminology through a small example. If a potter makes a pot out of clay, then the clay is substance, and the potter is the creator and the instrument. Both are necessary. If there is a pile of clay, then while there is a potter, until there is a potter, no pots will be made. At the same time, if the pot is sitting there but there is no clay, then there will be no pots made. Therefore, the substance cannot make anything on its own, and the creator also cannot do anything by himself. If you had to decide which of the two is more important, then you'll be able to say that the substance is more important than the creator. Why is this? This is because the creator, for example the potter, can be changed, but you need the substance, for example the clay, and the substance has to remain the same. If potter Chaganlal goes out of town, and then the potter Maganlal will make the pot. And if the potter Maganlal is not there, then the potter Kachalal will make the pot. Not only that, but even after that creator goes, then the substance will also still be there. Until you wanted to create something, then the creator was necessary, but after that there is no need for a creator. Once a pot is made, then if the potter goes out of town or even dies, then the pot will still be performing its function. It will still be keeping water cool, but what if there is no clay left? Then all the pots will be finished. For as long as you want pots to exist, then you will need clay to exist, or as long as clay exists, then pots too will exist. Therefore the substance is more important than the creator. But many thinkers say that the creator is more important than the substance, because if there is clay there but no potters, then no pots will be made. Those who are really wise say that it is wrong to only call God either the Nimittakaran, the creator, or the Upadakaran, the substance. They say further that Abhinna Nimitto Padanakarano, meaning that God is both the creator of the world, the substance in the world, and going even further, God is the cause of all causes. God does all of these things together at the same time. God is Upadan Karan, the substance, because this world came from him, just like the pot came from clay. When a pot breaks into many different pieces, then they will scrape and become clay in the end. Pots were made from the clay, and they will become clay in the end. In the same way, the individual soul, the material world and earth came from God, and in the end, they will go back into God. There can be nothing in the world apart from God. Shri Krishna will go on to say, Vasudeva Sarva Nipi in the Gita, and this verse is introducing us to this. Everything you can see is God. There can be nothing in the world apart from God. Another interpretation of this verse is that Shri Krishna says that there is nothing whatsoever that is greater than him. This is because Shri Krishna uses the word, if you see the word, he uses the word Tara, and this means higher in the phrase Uchatara Uchatama Paratara. I am above, but there is nothing whatsoever that is higher than I. This is a comparison. How can anything be greater than God? The word Tam shows that one can only be called the greatest when one is the goal. God is the goal itself. He exists because of himself. We are not here because of ourselves, but because we need other people. If I were to explain it in simple terms, then God is the real thing and we are his reflection. If we put makeup to our reflections, that we can see ourselves in our mirror, then will our faces become beautiful? No. But if the real thing becomes beautiful, then the reflection will become beautiful by itself. God is the real thing, and we should understand that Supreme Soul like the real thing. We should be like him. We have to bring out the Supreme Soul residing within us. When one goes in this direction, then the reflection becomes beautiful by itself. When Guruji was young, he watched a Hindi film, and there was a very famous actor in it. In a scene, he comes home drunk after fighting, and he starts putting bandages in his reflection in the mirror. Any of you guys remember this one? I don't. I've never seen it. It's a very famous scene. When he put bandages on his reflection in the mirror, then did that make any difference to his face? No, the face remains the way it was. But if he applied bandages to his real body, then the cuts on the reflection will be healed before the cuts in his body would be healed. The material world is a reflection, and the Supreme Soul is a real thing. What people do is that they make the same mistake over and over again in trying to improve their reflection. Even after improving the material world and changing the material world, one does not get peace and steadiness. There's a young child who is crying a lot. Everybody in the house, such as the mother, the father, 2 or 3 servants, the older brother and the aunt, got together and told the child to be calm. The young child would not become calm and still kept on crying. The child was insisting that a hat stays on the head of the child's shadow, and everyone in the family was standing in the living room to always make sure the hat would always stay on the shadow's head. A saint was going past this house and asked the child why he was crying, and why, even with so many people coming together to make efforts to calm the young child down, the young child would not stop crying. The father said they did not know what to do because the child has become stubborn, that this hat just lies on the shadow of the child's, and that this family are leaving the hat there, but the child is so fickle that if shadow moves even a bit and the hat falls out of the area of the shadow's head, then the young child keeps crying. The father said that is why the family stands around the living room to make sure that the shadow moves, then it's moved accordingly to stay on the shadow's head. The saint told him not to do this and told them to give the hat to him. The saint took this hat into his own hands, put the hat on the child's head, and told the child, "Now go and play, son." When the hat was placed on the child itself, no matter where the child would go, its shadow would always appear wearing the hat, and the child started jumping for joy. What does the material world do? It plays with the reflection, it keeps moving the reflection, and it adjusts the reflection. And the reflection will move according to the material world. Therefore, the things we expect to give us pleasure today change tomorrow, and the things we expect to give us pleasure tomorrow change the day after tomorrow. And these things change after 5 years and remain turbulent all of this time. When a person moves from villages to Mumbai, then the person thinks that if he gets a 10 by 10 room, then it will be perfect. He has parties in Mumbai but no accommodation. If he gets 10 by 10 a room, then it will be perfect for him. At this moment, he has the shadow of the 10 by 10 room. After this, he gets a 10 by 10 room, then he wishes to get an even bigger property. Then the shadow becomes a double room, and then a 1-bedroom house. Then his shadow becomes a 2-bedroom house. These are all the activities of playing with the reflection. One does not get any satisfaction at all, only the reflection is played with. Then the person forms a new perspective. If you adjust the person himself, then the reflection automatically becomes right. By talking about Prabhava, creation, and Pralaya, dissolution, and Pragat, manifest, and Apragat, non-manifest, near the beginning of this chapter, Shri Krishna is trying to explain something to us. Assimilating those who oppose you is the way of Vedanta. The more a person accepts those who oppose him, then the less that person is opposed. Only when one assimilates opposition does the person become unopposed. Non-opposition does not come from leaving opposition or from opposing opposition. Therefore, one should accept opposition. Only by accepting opposition does non-opposition come. And only when this non-opposition comes does one attain supreme soul, and only then does one attain peace. When you sit down to worship, then at the beginning, Brahmins give you mustard seeds in your left hand, and you have to cover in your with your right hand. It is then said, Apar santate bhuta ye bhuta bhumi sansita ye bhuta na kantara shara chatu shuvaganaya. Apakantu bhutani vishya sarvatu rushyam sarvesham avidode puja karma karom yaham. May all those ghosts that try to harm us be destroyed under the orders of Lord Shiva, because I am here to do deeds for the welfare of all, and I do not want to do such deeds by building non-opposition with everyone so that we can worship God. So I want to do such deeds by building non-opposition with everyone so that we can worship God. There are a lot of enemies such as ghosts and evil spirits which try to harm us. Shiv, what's the meaning of Shiva? Means person for the welfare of all, and person who is there for the well-being of all. And therefore, by chanting this, Lord Shiva protects us by destroying these ghosts and evil spirits when we try to do activities for the welfare of all. Only when you perform deeds by building non-opposition with everyone do you get peace of mind. Only then is God happy with you, and only then can you worship God properly. One person asked Guruji why husbands and wives are not allowed to sit next to each other during puja worship. Guruji told him that it says at the beginning, Sarvesham avidorana. I want to do such deeds by building non-opposition. Only if the husband and wife are not sitting next to each other would there be non-opposition. If this was not the case, then they would both be sitting next to each other, then they would both hold worldly conventions and argue about the rituals, so they would never stand up. Neither the husband nor the wife will be able to get up, and that is why we tell them to sit separately. The word Sarvesham is used because opposition begins when there are other people. First of all, you must get to the state where people can sit next to each other, and only then you can begin the puja worship. Shri Krishna teaches us here to assimilate those who oppose us. Shri Krishna gives a famous example in this verse that all things here are strung on him like gems strung on a string. Guruji often compares science and dharma because the name of this chapter is Gnan Vignan Yog. What is the meaning of that? The yoga of wisdom and science. Science searches for the meaning of the manifest, whereas dharma searches for the meaning of the non-manifest. Shri Krishna shows here that he is non-manifest. Science only looks at the gems and not the string. Dharma, on the other hand, is certainly a science, but what it searches for is the hidden. Dharma is the science of the hidden. Dharma is of course a science, but it's the science of the hidden. This is because when manifest things come into hands, then we find out about the incompleteness. If someone can be seen after attaining it, one still feels that there is something missing, and this feeling remains as one attains more things. A thinker has said it very nicely that the mystery of the world is like the skin of an onion, in that as soon as you peel one layer, then another layer comes. One layer comes after another, and more layers keep coming. This is what manifest things are like. Dharma searches for the non-manifest, and one can only find this after looking deep. There is a very famous dua of Kabir, Main boi shodan gai rahi kinare bet. I went to search for the jewels in the water by sitting on the shore. How can one find the jewels in the water by just sitting on the shore? One has to dive for the jewels, and one has to dive deep. The same thing here has been put in a differently in a different dua by Kabir. Lali shodan me gai, men bhi gai lal. When I went in search of red color of my beloved God, then I too turned red. This cannot happen unless you search deep. You cannot find the ultimate truth until you dive deep. The experience of all saints is one, going deep. Do not play with the gems, because this is childishness. A search for the string on which the gems are strung, because this is maturity. And religion, correct that, I won't say religion, I don't like the word religion. Dharma makes mature efforts because it tries to search for the string. What is the string? Where can one find God? In the next few verses, Shri Krishna has said in short what the gems are and what the string is, what is manifest and what is non-manifest, and where he, the non-manifest, is in the manifest. Shri Krishna will show us in 2 weeks' time. Okay, end of the class. Okay.